First, I want to say congratulations to everyone here. This is a fantastic museum. I can't believe it. I've gone all. I'm sure I missed some nooks and crannies. And I'm just going to preface that and say, for a relatively small town, this is a great museum. This is much bigger in terms of displays, in terms of the way it's displayed, than the Sedgwick County Museum in Wichita. Puts them to shame. So you can be proud of what you have here in Concordia, and particularly proud if you had a hand in it. So I just handed out, like say, a program or syllabus of what, basically it's an outline of what I'm going to cover today. There's some more propaganda up here, a business card, and a flyer of the books that I have. So with that said, I'll get started. If I can figure out where I'm going to put everything. Got coffee so I don't fall asleep while I'm talking. Basically, we're going to talk about photo restoration and enhancements for the genealogist. There's a lot to it, and I'm going to cover some tools to do it that, from various providers. We'll make it clear, I don't have any relationship with the tools, the companies, and the services I'm going to talk about. I try to be as objective as possible. So feel free to raise your hand, ask some questions as we go. I know one gal here wants to share with us, and I said, what's one of the first topics we're going to discuss? So anyway, so with that said, I'm going to get started. So what's possible? We can restore, and enhance just about anything. As I say, and maybe your skill set if you're wanting to do it, or the tool you're using. So we're going to cover a lot of different aspects of it. As a bonus, MyHeritage is done with the quote AI stuff. So am I good on
Well,
and everything?
yeah, I think so.
Okay, what is possible? It's possible to get rid of all these stupid things that pop up. There's four enhancement of the photographs from the 1800s and all up until the early 50s. You see all our photographs have turned god awful red or blue or something. So that's a color shift. We're gonna talk about those. There's one-click fixes to some of this stuff. That's what you'd be bombarded if you look at a lot of the genealogy propaganda that's out there now. They talk about just one click. It's real easy. So like I say, it's easy as is in the eye of the beholder too. Colorization. Maybe you don't need it. Some people just say it's not right to color the old black and white photos. We're going to look at some examples though and see if it's for you. It's relatively easy to do. Drastic pictures. Actually broken in half. Then how do you fix them? Put them back together where you can't tell a difference. It's those are not one-click fixes. Probably 1,000 clicks maybe involved with that. So we're going to cover that. We're going to look at 4 different products to do this. Like I say, not everyone uses the same thing, and this is just an array of what the ways to do things. There's one called Photoshop Elements. Not terribly expensive. It fits on your computer, and that's what I've used for 14, 15 years. I wrote a whole book about it, and now it's with a lot of the new software that's out there with these, one-click fixes. It's kind of obsolete almost, except for drastic cases. MyHeritage. Is everyone familiar with MyHeritage? It's a competitor to Ancestry and Family Search. They have, here's the book reading, if you will, or outline of it. And they are the leaders in the next of photo restoration right now. So we're going to cover that, and it's stuff that I can't believe. So things that I used to spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours can be done now in a minute. So and I'm going to do some live demonstrations of this. Not just going to be up here on a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to hand around real examples. I'm actually going to get online with MyHeritage and another one and show you some stuff. So there's a company called Vance AI. It's on the, it's pretty neat. Also, there's a lot of companies that are doing this now. It's becoming easier, and I can't keep track of all of them. This is, I'm showing you that just as an example of what you may stumble across out there. It's a company called VividPix. They've been around for quite a while, and they mainly deal with going from light to bringing a photograph back from faded too much and do color correction. And I'll show you it. It's getting a little long in the tooth, but it's still pretty good. This table's in your list also. Not every product does everything. Just like there's car mechanics that specialize on the motor, some of them on the air conditioning, some of this. So they are. Also, some of them do all the processing on your computer. It's a program running on your computer. The others are all online. If you're online, but all right then and there. So some of them are computer-based. Some has a subscription to it, right? Anyone online, they're going to want to charge you once a month or something, or once a year, a big chunk. The others you can buy profiles. Photoshop Elements has been around a long time. It's a consumer version of Photoshop, which can fix just about anything and everything. So MyHeritage, again, like I mentioned them, they all Family Search and Ancestry that have got this deep into the photo restoration, primarily for faded and color restoration. It's kind of neat. You just upload it, and it gives you 9 choices to which one do you like best. The same thing differently, as far as producing something for you. It's fast online. You buy these credits, and I got 6 credits. For $16, I got 100 credits, and it only takes about 1 or 2 credits per picture to fix it. So I'm not sure about them. One thing to be, I don't know, just to be aware of. I'm not sure you have to be careful about. I paid the $16 with a credit card. Well, I immediately got a text message from the credit card company that this was an international charge. I have no idea where they're at. I'll be watching that credit card real close to see what happens in the future. So my suggestion, one as a sidelight, is don't use a debit card on these type of things. Use a credit card. Credit card, you get your money back. You stop it. Debit card, your money's gone, and the banks don't play very well with that. So let's look at faded photos. You're my straight person. So here's just a variety of things. I've been doing this for 20, 30 years, and word got out of my families. I have an enormous family. My mother had 15 brothers and sisters. My dad had 7. Good news, bad news, all the pictures come to me. So I've had a great collection. That's how I got started on this, spreading things out. Okay, what have I got here? So there's a variety of pictures I've got. So let's look at this one. This is my grandmother that was taken in 1892 down there in Sumner County. And it's starting to be really, really faded. I'm going to pass this around in a minute. That is the actual cabinet card in there. I'm going to pass this around so you can take a look at it real close when I get to this segment. So what I did with Photoshop Elements, I did all this manually. I mean, you load it and you do some slider things. You make it lighter and darker. You got to do the contrast. The trouble is you have to know what the difference is between contrast and make it light, and then saturation, and there's all these different things. It is not difficult, but it's not easy. You have to be you yourself have to be computer friendly. If you hate computers, that's not something to use. this is My Heritage. My Heritage, I'm going to give them a lot of kudos as I go through this. It's one thing they don't do is faded pictures. And I can't figure out why. So, Vivid Pics. This is the one that said he's getting a little old. Did an excellent job in the picture. Kind of messed up the card itself. I know the guy that did this. He started out. He's a scuba diver, and if you take any pictures underwater, they all have a crazy tip to them. And he was a high-level professional scuba diver. He invented the software to fix underwater pictures, and it applied to general photography. Then Advanced AI again did pretty good on that. So that is typical of. I'm going to pass this around. This is behind glass. Put your fingerprints all over it. I'll clean it off. But that lighter one is the actual card in there. So did I have another one? Oh, I was going to do this. Let me show you. What I'm talking about. I'm saying, oh, this is easy to do. Okay, we'll try to show you, and I'll be conscious of the time to try to get this through. So there's this Vivid Pics screen. This is a program for $50 that you buy and you put on your computer. So I'm going to do a file open, and I've got that picture on here. So there it is. It says Maggie Struble. That's like I said, my grandmother. See, they gave 9 different. I'm thinking this through. I've tested this out 17 times. So it's fine here. That should just be a mirror image of what I've got up there. Let me do something drastic here.
You're great at this thing, right?
Well, I'm glad you pointed that out. I had to close my PowerPoint back up. So, okay. Excuse me while I have a conversation with myself. So it's got 9 different ones that you can choose to. I'm hoping this is going to. It's not playing well. I'm going to choose this one. Okay, so then it shows you before and after. There's the PowerPoint running at the same time, and this is not playing real well, but we'll get through this. So you can choose any of those you want, and obviously you're on your home computer. You can see it, look closer, and you can also do detail edit. So you can actually, it wasn't exactly like you wanted to, just by moving these slider bars, contrast, and this is one of these things that you learn what you like, but it's always going to be infinitely better than the original. So does that make sense? So I'm not going to. We'll get out of this right now because it's not playing well. But you can see it wasn't going to do anything anyway. So you see, that was easy. In Photoshop Elements, which is the manual one, I would spend not a lot of time, maybe 15, 20 minutes doing that. So This is some of the new things. And then what happens? I can just dip. If I say no, but we want to do it. And then I can download that picture. And it'll download it right to my picture, the fixed one. Okay. So I don't know why this delay was in there. So let me see your picture. What was your name?
Donna Barton.
Here's one. Of course, this is one reason it looks so light. It's snowy yet, right?
It looks like
It
it.
looks like
Okay. And it looks like it's faded more in the middle than on the edges, or to one side, I don't know.
it's a little dark optics, of course. And
The pony is dark,
Yeah.
but you get over there to the dog, and
But
you have to
this is a
see.
perfect type of photograph that is a candidate for that. Because I say that of course, this has to be scanned first. Right? It has to do the digital thing. I say the light parts in there, you know what dog sounds are, right? The sounds a dog can hear, that we can't hear. Light is like dog sounds. The scanner can see those shades. Our eyes can't. With doing some enhancements, it will bring those light pieces that we can't see, but the scanner can. It will bring them out. So this is a perfect candidate for that.
And this Vivid Pix would do a good job of that.
Yeah. That's what we just
That's
did,
what we're doing.
there. Yeah. And like I say, I've got the different charts on here to show. As a matter of fact, at the end, I even I grade all. So what do you see it there? The stars. So, and then I will show. Here's another one I'll pass around. Just same concept. This light one here is the actual. That's actually lighter than the others. The actual photograph. This is probably one of the easiest tasks to accomplish for photo restoration. The good news is that's one of the most common ones you will find. Okay, except 5-year-old got a crayon too, so that's a little more difficult. Look at color shifted photos. They shifted for many reasons. The older films, and in the 50s, color film just came commercially really available around 1950. It was they had it in World War II, but there were other things going on. And but they were always changing the chemicals, and there's 4 different chemical colors in there, and some of them would degrade quicker than others, and hence pictures would turn reddish, they would turn bluish, depending on different things. Also, how many of you took pictures in the 50s and early 60s, photographs? You either went and bought daylight film or you bought tungsten film. There was indoor and outdoor film. Then what happens is if you use the outdoor film inside and the inside film outdoors, you would get various color shifts. So now our digital cameras handle all that automatically. So that's the reason they went. It's nothing you did. Okay, it's not your fault. It may be your fault if you got faded pictures. It's probably not yours. It was the people. Let me back up just a little bit. Do not take an old photograph, I mean the really old ones, the cherished ones from the 1800s, early 1900s, and frame them and put them on your wall. That's what will happen to them. This is what will happen to them, is they will fade. Make a good copy. Get it restored if you need to, and then make a copy of that and frame that. And keep the others. Treat them like mushrooms. Keep them in the dark, and I won't go the other half of that story. But you can get them back. So that's me, top left, 1978 version. Okay, this is probably an outdoor film used indoor, and Photoshop Elements did okay. My Heritage did. Now in all fairness, I'm not blaming your TV per se. Every monitor you display things on the cover, they're not that. There's not that much red here on my computer screen. It's not here in the background. So I did a pretty good job. Vivid Picks did a lot of this personal preference too. I like this one. Someone else liked that one. I liked it because they were much more natural. It wasn't this overwhelming tint of it. So, Advanced IA left a lot of red into it. So that's, but it's still relatively easy to do this. And it's more irritating than anything else if you got them that have colored. So now they may get worse and worse and worse over time. No matter what, your old pictures, your cherished pictures, you need to have them scanned and digital versions anyway. That way you can share them with other people. They can be backed up. Otherwise, you got one copy of Grandma from 1900. If that got burnt, lost, flooded, or whatever, it's gone. So make copies, particularly if you get them scanned, and then you can share them with other people also. Here's another one. That's my mother's dad, my grandfather in 1960. This one just didn't turn out great, but it turned out better. Took out some of the red there in Photoshop Elements. MyHeritage did a pretty darn good job. This is the guy that had 54 grandkids. Luckily, he got along well with kids. And Advanced AI didn't do very good. I graded some of these. I gave them the blue ribbon, some of them. The larger the ribbon, the better in my estimation. So anyway, so you can see what can be done. Now I'm gonna try another one of these live demos. So let's do this. It may not. I'm gonna get rid of that. I think I know maybe what the problem was. I've been using Photoshop for about 25 years, and Photoshop Elements, which is the consumer version, cheap version. The full-blown Photoshop is about $600 a year. So right now I've got a trial version going on this. I get tired of even upgrading this one at $79. So I'm going to show you something real quick. What I got. But I'm running into the same problem. So interesting, I closed that file and it's still showing up. Like a zombie. Okay, so it's not showing up there what I'm seeing down here. So I'm just going. The feature on this to do that, it gives me 4 panels when I load it, and you can pick one in. I don't know why. I apologize for. This is still the PowerPoint screen. So I'm probably going to forego some of these live demos. What's failed? I'm not rebooting. I'm just unhooking that TV from this. It's still up there, like a zombie image. There it is. Okay. There's the original picture. You can see a print I had made of the digital picture that I had. So infinitely better. So, like I said, do that for ones that you really, really cherish and really, really want to. And they're cheap now. You could have a dozen copies made and share with other people. That makes sense, despite my stumbling all over my left foot. Let's go on to colorizing photos. This is something that you may never do. But I'm going to show you, but I'm going to make you aware of the technologies out there. So when somebody shows you something, you see something that you know. These are just some, and I actually did this. I captured the black and white off of somewhere and colorized them. It makes some interesting things. It's controversial. Historians and pure photographers don't approve of it. You hear a lot of it. I'm not saying you replace the black and white. Don't ever discard the original copy. I even have some friends that once they scan an original photo, they say, "Well, we don't need this anymore," and I just kind of cringe. I politely say, "No, you got to keep it just in case," and then so that's yours. So please hang on to the old ones, forever. So that piece of paper is history itself, not just some things in it that you didn't see before. That's where kind of some interesting things happen. I'll show you that what it means. Like some elements become more obvious, and what. So this was one of the first parts of what they started doing with AI, artificial intelligence. The AI is neither artificial or is it intelligent. It's just a really, 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 really fancy, complex program that the computers are powerful enough sitting here that can do all of the calculations as needed to. So it's just a catchy name that they're driving us nuts with. Also, they use it as a good excuse to raise the prices. So I've been in technology my whole life, and I'm not a real big fan of it for these, some aspects of it. It's kind of oversold right now. What AI does, it will go through and then it'll read it and scan it, and it knows what's a face, it knows what's a clothes, what is hat, what's trees and bushes. It can figure that out, and it's stored it internally and said, "Oh, this part of the picture is a face, this part is something else." And it doesn't always get those right. Trees and bushes, no matter what, and I'm going to show you this in a minute. If it identified with this is some grass, it's going to make that grass green. I don't care what time of year it is. That grass is going to be green. Okay. I suppose you could have a snowman, but I'm going to show you. I just invented that one. Clothes colors are the least reliable. So I'll show you that because it really doesn't. There's kind of no way for it to know. You can kind of guess. For black and white photo, if the color is real dark, it's probably red. Red turns into almost black sometimes, in converted to black and white. So, for example, that's me in my first car, okay, and my pesky little brother. Not sure how true all it is. I sort of remember that car being kind of an orange and faded. It was okay, so that's pretty all right. I think they did pretty good with the shirt there and his blue pants. Notice it missed my pants down here. See, it didn't do a thing to them. So it's not like you and me being able to look at something. Well, yeah, well, of course, that's his leg down there. The computer doesn't know, oh, of course, that's his leg down there. Now, look at what my brother's wearing. I have a long sleeve flannel shirt on. These bushes back here don't have any leaves on them. That grass is sure green, though, isn't it? So, I think it's probably fall because I kind of see some leaves back here have a tree back here have some leaves still left on them. Anyway, you just have to deal with it. Now I'll show you. This is one that I don't know what all the reasons, but I like doing this. That's my mother in the very back part of that wagon. So this is what Photoshop Elements did all automatically. I just had to say colorize. And I went out and did a fair job. My Heritage did a pretty fair job, made the wagon a little richer red, which it is. Okay, it was a reddish color. Climax was a got any farmers in here? You'd have to be really, really old. Climax was kind of like the John Deere of the 1910s. So they were big mowers, hay balers, and things like that. So that was obviously, I mean, you can go to the implement store today and get the toys for kids or trucks or wagons that have the John Deere logo or whatever. So Vance AI did okay. I went back in and used my professional Photoshop program, and I manually then cut out and duplicated these areas, and I forced them to be redder. Forced them to be red, bright red, because that's what I envisioned that it really was. You can see everyone's still kind of, they're not bundled up terribly. I mean, this is an uncle. He's not, it's not cold, but notice the grass is still green. I just don't think there's much green there probably. Anyway, but what I liked about this, to me, some of the old cars and the stuff in the background came out a little bit better. And it's not as flat, if you will. So it can be fun if you got an interesting photograph. I like the one that I spent extra time on. Here's some colorization. This was in 1949 of my mother's family. That's my mother there. This is the guy that had all these kids. My grandmother. So you can see just the different things. For whatever reason, they made them a little bit too red. Okay, and that's just just what they do. You can always go back in these other programs, Photoshop Elements, and see it's called saturation. You can just slide a bar down, it'll take some of the brightness out of any color. If you did it all the way to one extreme, it'll turn it back to black and white. So that's what coloration can do for you. I think I got one more. I was going to show you on the differences. That first one I had up there, I don't even remember which program I did that because I made that slide a couple years ago. So I just redid these last night. There's Photoshop Elements. It doesn't have as bright of color on here. All this is still pretty much the same. My Heritage went kind of a little nutso with the color there. Don't know why I did that. This is where each one of their programs, programs just written by a person, by a human being. And they decided, we're going to use this color model, if you will, to do certain things. No, Vivid Fix doesn't do colorization. And look at what this one did. Those programmers were really off different. They were raised differently than the other programmers. To them, that car was going to be blue. And look at my shirt. I kind of like that shirt. So, anyway.
You got your jeans.
And he got the jeans down below. They were, so, I just noticed that and I had noticed that. I didn't notice they made his shoes kind of dark red or so. But anyway, as I said earlier on, your mileage will vary. So anyone see a need for that in the world, in your world?
The colorization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Some yes, some no. So
I have an aunt I'm curious about. She died in 1949. Would have been my aunt.
okay.
To see what.
Well, I'm gonna show you
Long
something.
hair.
I'm gonna show you something pretty soon. Oh, did you? So you didn't know her?
No, no.
Okay. I'm gonna show you a way to meet her in a minute. In a minute, a few minutes. Okay. So let's get into the most common thing that a lot of you will have. My Heritage excels at this. If you've got My Heritage, one thing I don't like about My Heritage is $200 a year. So what's Ancestry's that also, and so anyway.
Can you buy photos from MyHeritage though?
You buy them from them.
Well, you send them in and they're on your site, but can you buy them from them then?
Well, you can download them.
Can you?
Yeah, and then if you've got My Heritage and I won't try to do this with My Heritage because it's really neat. I'll shut this down because once on all these, once you fix something on their site on their software, you can download it, and I'll show you that in a minute. So it doesn't cost any extra to get picture by picture by picture.
Okay.
Okay, this is my sister, 1942, and what? So we're going to take a look at that. For whatever reason, and I'll pass this around a minute. I've got the original picture right here. I got all these cracks in it, and that was one of my favorite pictures of it. So many years ago, I did this all by hand, and I had to go through. There's a tool in Photoshop Elements and some other tools. It's like an eraser, if you will, but it averages the other pixels all around the crack or the scratch or something, and you can vary the size of it. And I had to trace over all these things, and got that. I was pretty proud of that. My Heritage did that in about 15 seconds. I'm going to show you so you really need how I did that. Okay. VividPix has no fix. That Advanced AI went a little crazy, and the mouth is not quite right. And particularly if the software that's going to do fixes for you, remember, it's not a human eye there. It's doing some guessing of what the results are supposed to look like. And they get them right 80% of the time. Sometimes they just don't. So, plus it turned it red for some reason. I'm going to pass her. I wonder why, because it was a little bit tinted red. I'm going to pass her around. But if you had a lot to do on this, because this is a great tool. Okay, I'm going to, just because it is well worth seeing this one, I'm actually going to try a different tactic on this, closing everything out. I do want you to see this. Oh, I've already got it up. So I kept this running in the background. This could have been causing too many programs going on. So this is My Heritage. I've uploaded all these pictures over time. I first started using this about 1.5 years ago when I first started learning this. And so I deleted. Okay, there's Baby Shirley. So what I'm going to do is hands photos. I don't know why I did that. I'll upload it again. Okay. So I just now uploaded it. So it just now fixed that. Your hinge photo's ready. It's making me a big old fat liar. Prepare. Okay. Now it's going out there and looking at it. I don't know what's with this number, but that's what they instead of playing a nice soothing hum. Now here we go. Now they did that automatically. What's this? So there's the original, and you see different things on TV do this, that type of thing. And there's the fixed version. And you saw it took about 10, 15 seconds for it to do that. So I did a pretty darn good job. Now, you asked me about, can I buy that now? No, because you already did when you paid them mortgage your house in the first place to get the subscription. They said download photo, improved photo. If I said the comparison, it would download it already. Did I pass that around? Yeah. That one image on there that showed them side by side, I downloaded the comparison. It'll load you one file with it before and after. Okay. So I'm just going to say improved photo. So it downloaded it right then. If I click on this, it should bring it up this is in my downloads file directory, okay, on the computer. And this should, if we don't get, so there's what it just created, a few seconds ago. This will work on smudges, anything that's not supposed to be there, if it can recognize it. The bigger the smudge or a big patch, probably it may have more trouble with that. So that's,
Can I ask a question there? When you had it at that stage, could you change the size of it?
sure. Yeah, and that's it'll download it
It
pretty.
pretty much fills the
This
page.
tells you right now how big it is. So that's pretty good. That's about 3 by 5
So
printed.
if you wanted an 8 by 10, you could change it.
Yes, you can enlarge it. You can. I don't think. No, this is. See, I'm out. This is just a Windows utility viewing it right now, but in other software, okay, even some of the stuff that's on Windows automatically, but the Photoshop elements, you can enlarge it as big as you want. It will start. The more you enlarge it, it's called pixelated. The worse the crispness will be. Crispness. It'll degrade the bigger you get. So now I don't think. Let's do this. We'll get rid of this. I don't believe I can make it. What I think it does. Here's if you had a picture and you wanted to fix it and you wanted it to be large. For example, this was a very small image of me. I scanned it at a normally high rate, so its natural size was bigger. Its natural size in the computer was bigger than its original size. What you want to do is, if you haven't already scanned it, if it's not already digital, you want to scan it kind of the average, minimum average that we tell people to do is scan something at 300 DPI, dots per inch. If it's a small picture, if it's a tiny picture, you want to scan it about 1200 or maybe even more. This one, at minimum, I would scan it would be 600 DPI. So you've got a lot more original pictures original pixels to deal with. And then it will make the new file the same size as the one you upload. So
Yeah, I had a picture enlarged. It was Well, they used to print those old pictures about the same size as the negative,
Mm-hmm.
so it was about 2x3.
Mm-hmm.
And if the original picture, just the focus is just crisp as can be,
Mhm.
but the enlargement is great.
Is good or
It's not.
It's not good.
No, it's not as good. It looks out of focus. Not a lot, but
now you said you had it enlarged. Who enlarged it?
I don't remember. I think it was a company down in Salina that
Okay.
enlarged
Depending
it.
on how they did it, a picture like that, I would scan it at minimum 1,200 dots per inch, or maybe 2,400.
And your computer did that, or the,
If you've got a decent scanner, and they even the minimum scanners today will do that. Maybe most of them go up to 1,200 DPI. Then that will give you pretty much all the same clarity at an enlarged version.
at one time I thought I had the negative.
Okay.
And if I knew somebody that still had
Yeah.
the enlarger, they
Well,
could
but see,
make
you can scan negatives now. It usually takes a little higher priced scanner, but you can scan negatives. And you scan them as a minimum of 2,400 dots per inch, sometimes 3,600, and you get perfect sizes
it. I
enlarged.
didn't realize you could do that. So when you're
Scanning will
scanning
take
it,
all day to scan a photo. If you really set it behind you.
Yeah, it'll take a while, but if it's something that's it's a one-off type thing, or start to scan and go wash the dishes, go do something. You know, that's what I do sometimes.
but
So
I could take those little tiny pictures,
and scan them at a high.
scan them, and there's a place to record that or fix that. To tell us to do it at 2,400.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when I scan something now, I put it in, hit the scan button.
Scanner. Well, if you look somewhere in the setup or something, it's going to give you the option to scan at a higher rate. Now,
Okay.
I don't know. Don't know how.
It's a printer with a glass
I
plate,
understand.
and you put the thing in.
Well, I have one of those too. I
You
have a
hit
brother.
either copy or scan. Or,
If you go in there and look there in the settings or setup or something, you should be able to scan that at least 1,200 dots per inch.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to look for that.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah. Unfortunately, scanning is an art in itself also. So you have to be, you, you need to dig in a little bit and see what's there, but scanning, I can even send you, I wrote a book on photo restoration. I have a whole chapter on scanning and copying because it's so important. I will send you this chapter. Okay.
Okay.
I have a table right here that suggests dots per inch for the size of the picture. If anyone else wants a copy of that chapter, give me your email before we leave, and I will send you a PDF of just that chapter.
I've got a question.
Yes.
It's probably not the best of things. I do a lot of, I take a picture with my iPhone. I'll take a picture of it and then I'll just hit the ancestry.com button and put it right in somebody's photo.
Mhm.
That's what I'll do. And of course, I don't know if there's any way to improve the iPhone, picture taking and all that. Off original photos instead of scanning.
A lot of that is the quality of photography.
Yeah.
I mean, there's picture taking habits. You want to keep it obviously as steady as possible. Brace your hand that's holding it so it doesn't wobble anything. So that's going to be it's keeping it from getting fuzzy. There are little tripods to do that. There's the clamp things. You can put a clamp on it. The newer iPhones are phenomenal. I mean, even the older iPhones are phenomenal, and they're pretty darn good. So I don't know if you just have a good habit of taking the pictures, and they're becoming very high resolution. So it's not a bad thing, bad way to go. So did that?
Yeah, it is. You get reflection off light, so you've got to be where there's no above light.
You need, yeah, and I use my iPhone a lot at the library. Not shooting other pictures so much, but I'd go and do some research, and here's a page of some information, you know. So I try to get in between, you know, the lights at the library. I'm sure you'll get the reflection and everything. So those are basic things that any photographer has to deal with. So, so if you can deal with them, the iPhone's fine. So,
The only reason I do that a lot is it's so easy with my iPhone now that I've got it in the picture section. I can take and clip it and I can drop it either in Ancestry.com or, you know, I can move it.
and I think that's more than fine for those platforms anyway, because you're not on any given screen, you're not seeing the very best resolution as if it was printed on a big thing. But so I have no trouble with that. So.
I guess I have a question on that because I've been doing that on my phone as well, but mine's not my iPhone. But when you take the picture then too, like this saturation and color and everything, sometimes I'll go in there with it and then save it. Then that image is there to do whatever with. The other day I had the same trouble. I can't hold my camera still enough even to take good pictures. But I came across they also have a scan phone in there now. And in there where you can scan it instead of taking the picture. Would that be better than the picture? Or it doesn't matter. It's the same for either one. You have to hold it really still. It takes longer than it versus just taking the
I
picture.
think you're gonna have double trouble. Because not only is it scanning it very slowly, you got to keep it steadier longer,
Yeah.
or you can get
I
some
was going to get
shifts.
one of those
You
tripods or
can
something.
get a wavy type thing.
Yeah.
So
I found that if you get it too close, you don't get a very good picture of it, so I hold it back and get a small, then I crop it.
yeah,
And then when it comes up, it pops up really nice.
yeah. Oh. Yeah, frankly, I haven't used any of the scanning apps.
That was the first time I seen
In
it.
the
I thought,
phone.
well, I'm try this
Okay.
and see what it does.
Okay, so we just did Baby Shirley. Okay, we'll do a review of these four packages, and here I gave them ratings. That and that's just my personal thing, and that chart is in the second page of your handout. Of the more stars is better. If you look at My Heritage, it doesn't do faded, you know. Fixing faded photographs is one of the first things that was ever done, and seems to be relatively easy. And My Heritage doesn't do it right now. I'd expect them to do it sometime soon. You do color shifts, colorize, and restorations. I'm not affiliated with any of these, but that is the best. The others are kind of a mixed bag. Photoshop Elements doesn't even do everything as good as I would like it to. That's why I use the full blown Photoshop a lot. But that's I really get tired of paying them $65 a month, you know. But I get all the Adobe products for that, Illustrator and the ones that do publishing and everything. So anyway, so that's on your. So that's basically it for restoration. I've got more. And I said, stick around. I know you got business meeting afterwards. We got one more session to go. I'll go through quick. And I've got a whole book on some other fixes here to find something. I said if things are. Oh, I was going to show you. Let's go pass one more around. If there's what I call a catastrophic fix. I bought this company card several years ago. It's a pretty lady, but it's a great picture and everything. And it came, however, broke in half. Broke literally in half. The whole pictures won't just do that. I was so bummed. I said, okay, let's make lemonade out of it. Okay. And so I use that as an example of taking something that's completely broken and putting it together. And the difficulty of that one, which I'm proud of, but it took forever to do it, was getting all those pleats correct. You can still see kind of a little bit of a shadow sometimes. I was at a trade show many years ago for National Geographic Conference. This guy came up with a picture of his grandparents from around the turn of the century. It was in a baggie. It was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at least 12 pieces. He had dropped, it was so, those cards and photographs, if they're dried out 100%, you drop them, it'll shatter like glass. So I took that and said, yes, I can fix it. It's going to take a while. It's not going to be cheap. So you take a look at this. So there's 12 different pieces, and here's one solid picture. So, and that was the only one he had of his grandparents and that came over on the boat, or a boat. So feel free to look through this. I know you have a business meeting. I'll stick around for that. And then I'll talk to people afterwards. You can take a look at that. Okay. Real quick, then. We're going to look at some AI stuff just because it's come up a little bit. It's a separate animation. You talked about a ant that from 1949 that you didn't know. All throughout this, you're going to see me do this. Is it cool or creepy? Okay. That's the answer. And you have to decide. This is MyHeritage again. MyHeritage is the only one that really does this, but it's phenomenal what they do. Okay. So it's pretty, like I say, you have to decide whether it's cool or creepy. Now it gets, magic gets even better here. Cool or creepy. This is an aunt of mine that died in 1945. She was my mother's favorite aunt. I wrote a whole book on her life. And she was been gone a long time ago. It was I wrote a book entitled Cruel Irony. She was a nurse, psychiatric nurse. She ended up committing suicide herself in Larned. She had a brain tumor. But so anyways, that's who we call Aunt Esther. So
Her irises are different sizes.
well, and that's
Where's
where
that in my eyes?
No, they're different sizes.
Her eyes.
and that's where the stuff is not perfect. Okay, it's phenomenal, but if you look close enough, you'll always find something. So it was introduced in 2021. Oh, this is portrait animation. Again, you have to. Oh, a lot of stuff in MyHeritage. If you want to see even those scratches and all of those stuff, you can only get a trial subscription, and you get 5 free ones. Okay, so if you really want to see the interface and how to do it and everything, they have. It's not just one. When they process it, they give you 10 different animations, and you can pick whichever one you want. Okay, here is a grandfather that I'd never known in 1907 when he died. You can animate his photo. Yeah, here's 3 different looks. I have no idea. He was born in, I forget now who he was born. He died in 1907. Died in 1907 in a barber chair in Winfield, Kansas. So, what a way to go. Our first one in Kansas. Those 3 different ones. Cool or creepy? I really haven't done anything with this. Shared this with the family. And then, I got 55 first cousins and umpteen, whatever. So that and it's just like I said, you can do different animations, select the different animations, and all kinds of things. So it's a toy at this point, but I want to make you aware of when you see stuff on TV or anything, or it's not. Here's an imperfect one. This is my mother's grandfather, Don Christine. Now watch his cigar. Animation didn't know what to do with the cigar. So I went in Photoshop and I took the photo of the cigar out. Okay. And happy here on the finger. So it's much better. Come on. Much better without the cigar going all wonky. So again, all of this AI stuff is not perfect. So anyway, so let's go on real quick. Now this is the one storyboard. This I have sent this around to family, and I've got these great plans to do other things. You can write up a story. I've written numerous family history books. I don't think kids will watch it. Now, I say kids, 20 and 30-year-olds, or will read it. You know, they're not interested yet, but they may. There's my great-great-grandfather. He was down here in Lincoln County also. Civil War veteran. Here is, I'm hoping, because he talks also.
And that's from where?
Hmm?
That's from what site?
This is My Heritage does this. Okay, get it started.
Some bad. I was born on August 4th, 1845 in Clarksville, Tennessee. My parents were Tom Baggett and Lydia.
Here's what
Everyone always
here's
said
what
I
I'm
did
doing.
time in Libby
Let's
prison.
stop it. No, I got the.
I
didn't think it would come up here on there. There's.
Hi, I'm Alan Baggett. Here is what I would like you to remember about me. I experienced a lot, some good, some bad. I was born on August 4th, 1845 in Clarksville, Tennessee. My parents were Tom Baggett and Lydia. Everyone always said I looked like my pa. There were a lot of Baggetts in our area, and I had 8 brothers and sisters. I fought in the Civil War, joining the 56th Illinois Infantry when I was just 17. I was captured by the rebels and spent time in Libby prison. I even saw Lincoln when he came to Richmond a few days after the war was over and Libby prisoners were freed. He gave a wonderful speech. I met my wife, America Cagle, in Tennessee right after I mustered out of the Army. Her father was also in the war. We had some interesting conversations only one soldier can have with another. We lived many places from the hills of Tennessee to the flat land of Kansas. In the 1880s, I homesteaded in Lincoln County, Kansas, right next to the farm of Orange Clark. This became a long friendship with him and his son John, who married my daughter Ada. This is a photo of them with a young family in the 1890s. We all headed to western Kansas for homesteads in Haskell County near Dodge City. The land was not very good, and we then moved to Sumner County, Kansas. In 1893, me and several other family members ran in the 1893 Cherokee Strip Land Rush. Got some land near Bremen. That's just a short portion of my life. The rest was nearly as exciting. I thank Gary Clark, a great-grandson of my daughter Ada, and John Clark for helping tell my story.
Is that your voice then?
No,
when you read
No,
it? Because some of them you can go in now and do a story in your own voice or whatever and save a thing too.
yeah, that's not my voice. It was my script. The way this works, you write a script, and they call it chapters. I would call it scenes, and you can associate with a chapter. And then what you do, and this was another one I did, but you keep adding chapters every time. Every time there was a different picture came up in the background, it was a different chapter and you can choose the voice options. They give you an array of voice options, and there's some of them they gave them names and nothing magic about the names, but English and there's whether it's Irish accent or UK accent or something. So I went through and thought, well, that sounds like him. Thought it was pretty good.
Was that John Russell Clark?
No.
Okay.
So here's another one. This was another grandfather, and this does not go on and on and on. I just
Hello, I'm Bill Johnson. Let me tell you my life story.
so I'm not going to go on and do the same thing. But you can see, I have still some great plans on this. So doing a couple of the, particularly I've got the one of Alan Baggett, the Civil War guy, and somehow package them together, send them to the next generation of family, and maybe they'll watch it or something. So I think they'll pay attention to his life's steps. If you, the trick on this, I think, besides it being a fancy cartoon, is you writing a meaningful script that imparts some history and ones that they would listen to. So it's kind of like your own little PBS show. So anyway, so that's.
What about facial recognition?
Yeah, I was kind of curious on that one. of the
All I can
signs
do
has,
is
I think.
talk about that because I don't have anything on this. If you'll do a Google search on MyHeritage, just came out with facial recognition. Okay. And you can upload a known person. Then you can compare that against all these other things. But you have to have something to compare it against because all the pictures in the world aren't out there for them to choose from. They've got a nice video out right now that explains all that and shows it. I'm always a little leery of I said I spent 40 years in technology. The last 2/3 of that was in marketing. So I know that you make the words sound like you want them to. So they did all these examples, but if they tried something that didn't work, well, they're not going to show you that in the video. So they showed all the good results, but I haven't used it. Okay, so it's funny. I'm giving a presentation up in Overland Park next year to the Czech. Any Czechs in here? For the Czech National Genealogy Conference. It's a big 4-day conference, and the head guy from MyHeritage is there, and we're giving kind of dueling presentations on, because I have one on dating photographs and identifying people, and mine still uses a lot of old school stuff. So we're going to see what, and the organizers said, just as a heads up, David Horowitz is going to be there talking about his product too. So I don't have a product, I just do. Anyway, so I don't know who all is doing facial recognition right now, but I know MyHeritage is. So you might.
I've been taking my Apple and using facial recognition on the photos, and I name everybody in there so everybody shows up in there. So I'm testing that out right now.
Okay.
So like your picture up there, I'll put a name on every one of those, and I'll put it in there and see if it captures it.
So then, have you tested against it then? One that's kind of an obscure photo, does it?
I'm
Find 'em?
finding out if it does recognize some, and some of the photos it'll pull them off, and some of them won't.
Okay. Well, almost all this stuff, and I've said this again, I'll keep saying it. Your mileage will vary. It can't capture everything because it really can't think. It's got behind the scenes. It's got these formulas, and if something gets outside the formula, it's going to look at distance between eyes, distance between ears, and it's just a little bit off, or the lighting is just a little off. That can affect their ability to.
But it does pull some photos that
sure it
I
does.
never thought they would, and they would grab other people down the line.
And it's going to get better and better. There's no doubt about that. So, any other questions? This has been a lot, and it's just meant to be as an overview so you know what is capable in the world. But each one of these little things can be a whole 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour class.
And I'm not tech savvy, and that even yourself things on what computer offers.
Yeah.
Because I know at the museum conference, they showed an animation where like something was burning. So I'd like to do it, where like the strand is burning, and it actually makes it look like the flames are coming and ready to burn. Or you can have like the river, like when the Lagoon Mill is being flooded, and you can have the river, the water go. And they said basically that was on the cell phone, but it hadn't been on any of this type of stuff yet.
they're doing a lot of that type stuff, a lot of the newer stuff. And supposedly Ancestry has some of these fixed things, but it's only on an app. What they're looking at is marketplace. Where can we sell the most stuff? Because it takes a lot of development to create a lot of stuff. A lot of development means a lot of money. So, and plus, if you put it on just an iPhone, it doesn't have to have as high quality as, I think you'll miss a lot just because of the size factor. So, yeah, I get behind the trends. Yes.
I kind of got a question. On the scanning and taking pictures, do we know if that does any damage to the photo because of the bright light and stuff?
No. If you scanned it 10,000 times, yes. Okay. It's just like if I say don't take a picture and put it up in your wall and leave it there. If you get it out, I wouldn't show people your pictures out in the backyard or the front yard in bright sunlight. But a little bit of scanning, and if I hear people say, "Oh, you can't scan it; it's gonna hurt it," they won't hurt it for that quick amount of time. And it's not really the lights. It's not just light across the board. It's the particular spectrums that this Mr. Sun has that really bothers me.
When scanning, try to either hold the edge of the card or have gloves on. That's one of the biggest things that I gotta clean up on photos. Somebody's fingerprint on, or more than one person's.
Yeah, yeah.
So in some way, they might, later on, they might identify who the fingerprint is.
Good point. Might as well put some blood on there so they can do your DNA too.
I guess I always keep picking on, and then.
Do you know why the older people in those old photos did not put names on them?
Yeah.
They just stuck them in a bucket. They're lucky they had the cabinet cards that said where they were taken.
Well,
I wish they would have.
yeah.
I have a question.
And I got them. Probably
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I've got a 1950 aerial photo that's been rolled into with the years that it got so slippery.
I do that.
I had a county extension that sent me a link to an article that was talking about this, putting it in the bug of the water.
Yes.
You
You got to rehydrate.
So I, the S.
Years ago, particularly a lot of Army and service veterans, they were really wide. They were this soft, about this wide, and they were all rolled up, and they're all. If you try to remember that these pictures will dry out, and you try to roll it, it'll not only crack, it'll be break in half. What I do is I get one of the plastic tubs, okay, and you want that this tall, and I put just an inch of water or so on the bottom. Then I use
I had to make this straight first.
like a dish rack, and I just flat, put it on there, so I can lay the photo on there, on top of it. But since it's all rolled up, I take it and
We might say they're taking.
a little anal, I put a
We're taking 4.
humidifier, a humidity gauge in there, and I like to get it up to 90% humidity, okay, because you got to close the lid. Take the rolled up picture. You can always unroll it a little bit. I start out with just a tube, a little bit about the size of what would be. You could unroll a little bit, probably bigger than something. I've taken several of them that you put things in, I've cut them up, and so I gradually put that in there. So a little bit of strain on it, on the picture. Put it in there for an hour or two, and you can see it'll start getting thing loose. Then I make a bigger tube. And eventually you get one this big. I'll take a picture of a poster board or something. I mean, not board, but the heavy, even instead of stuff, I'll back this up. And I will make my own tube then, whatever size I want to, tape it together. And just so you want to keep getting larger and larger. And you may need to keep that in there for 10 or 12 hours at high. And if you open it up to look at it, we'll put the lid back on so all good humidity doesn't escape.
Yeah, do.
I've got one, and I found it.
Yeah, what I do is
Museum graphs.
If you've got an art store, what I use is watercolor paper. It comes in books for artists. Have these books of watercolor paper, just real porous. Okay, for the watercolor division, and I do that once I get it. If I can do it completely out, then I sandwich it between these pieces of watercolor paper, blotting paper, something that will absorb the liquid. And so it's serving two purposes. It's helping it absorb that liquid, but also then it's flattening out the thing. They will never be 100% flat where it won't be a little curled. But once you get like you want it, you get it dried, then you need to frame it. And you can you get a cheap poster frame from Walmart or someplace. But and then that'll keep it flat. I've done this. My dad's army picture from the 40s. It was one of those wide ones, about this tall, and it was all rolled up. So so. Well, that too. Yep. Get it flat and then scan it, and then but I wouldn't let it then just go back to itself. I would go ahead and, even if you store it away someplace, flatten it and keep it flat. And so the next generation doesn't have to deal with it again. Because I don't know what you want to have that effect, having it over and over again. Mm-hmm. I thought I had written that up in here, but I hadn't. So, anything else? Vicki, I'm going to turn this back over to you.
What I think we'll do is I'm going to turn you loose to have snacks. And if you want to talk to Gary for a while, he's got some stuff up here if you want to look at. Or if you have questions or you just want to visit with him about things that you've brought, I'll let you do that. Anyone who wants to attend the business meeting will meet at that back table. And because it's going to be short and sweet. And we'll go from there. Thank you for coming. Thanks, Gary,
Thank you
for all your information. We enjoyed it.
I realize it's a lot. So, and I was going to say, my email is on the syllabus at the top. Send me an email, and my business cards are up here, and a flyer with what books I've written.
You said you chapter 2 or whatever.
Yes,
it is.
whatever chapter that was.
So that's different like the one for unrolling.
Pardon me?
The one for unrolling is that the
No, it's not in there. I was trying to refer. I've never written that out. I just call it. You can actually use Google sometimes. Rehumanizing.
Well, I have a big piece.
Not a trick that I invented.